Welcome to Level Up 2020. The Wichita Regional Chamber of Commerce, in partnership with the Wichita Educational Foundation, invite you to join this special broadcast event, presented by Intrust Bank and Metro Courier. Premier sponsors, Cox Business, Evergy, and Spirit Aerosystems. Platinum sponsors, Bank of America, Cargill Protein Group, GLMV Architecture, High Touch Technologies, Lubrication Engineers, and Meritrust Credit Union. Video sponsor, Method. And broadcast sponsor, KWCH KSCW Gray Television. Special appearances by Gary Plummer, President and CEO of the Chamber, and Junetta Everett, 2020 Chamber Board Chair. Speaker guest, Joe Hart of Dale Carnegie Training, and recognition of our 2020 honorees. Now, to kick off tonight's program, your Chamber President and CEO, Gary Plummer.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us on this special night when we'll celebrate the 2020 achievements of our Chamber volunteers, staff, and this year's chair, Junetta Everett. We'll also be highlighting some award-winning companies and introducing you to some of the finest people in Wichita. It takes a lot of perseverance and a special type of resilience to thrive in the adversity that we've all faced this year, which is why we selected tonight's speaker, Joe Hart, from the internationally known Dale Carnegie Training. We know you'll be inspired by his keynote speech that will set the stage for the rest of the event. The challenges of 2020 have been unique but not insurmountable, and we're so grateful that we've had Junetta's exceptional leadership to steer us through these interesting times. Her faith in her fellow volunteers as well as the staff encouraged all of us to dig deeper, think more creatively, and be more innovative. She challenged all of us to level up, and we met that challenge. So tonight we celebrate all of you who have taken this journey with us through 2020, all of you who have worked to help your neighbors during a time of global crisis, all of you who supported your local businesses during their economic struggles, and to do the extraordinary things that make this such an exceptional community. Of course, this evening's celebration wouldn't be possible without those who support the Chamber in a variety of ways. Tonight's presenting sponsors are Intrust Bank and Metro Courier. Both are longtime Chamber members who have provided financial support, volunteered their brightest and best team members to lead important initiatives, and offered important counsel when we needed it most. Now let's hear from Charlie Chandler of Intrust Bank.
Thank you, Gary, and good evening, everyone. While it may not be natural for me to be on camera delivering a message this way, I appreciate the opportunity to introduce tonight's keynote speaker, Joe Hart. In researching Mr. Hart, his background, and the following he's established, I couldn't help but reflect on the idea of relationships. Relationships can take various forms, and for many of us, they are the basis of our business and an outlet for perspective. This year particularly, I've asked myself many times, what's next? Knowing I may not be able to find that answer myself. Simple questions like this have drawn us to reflect on our values and lean into the relationships we know and trust. At its core, these relationships are what bond business to a purpose. And we see these same values reflected in our long-standing partnership as a member of the Chamber. Over the years, I have seen how its deep understanding of our community's needs make it an invaluable resource to gain perspective outside our own. As a member, the Chamber has proven to be a connection point for our employees to seek education, to build personal relationships, and be a part of the progress happening in our community, driven by a set of strategic initiatives. Tonight is no different, as we are grateful for the Chamber's ability to adapt and provide an opportunity for us all to gain valuable insights from this evening's keynote speaker, Joe Hart. I mean, when you're running a historically strong human performance company that serves 86 countries and 32 languages during a global pandemic, it helps to be an agile and visionary leader. Let's hear Joe's ideas on how Wichita business leaders and the community can develop resilience to thrive in the face of adversity. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joe Hart. I am the president and CEO of Dale Carnegie Training. And even though I am based in New York, I'm excited to join the Wichita Regional Chamber of Commerce for its first ever Level Up broadcast event. What a wonderful, creative way to celebrate the success of the Chamber's partners and dedicated volunteers. On behalf of Dale Carnegie, we greatly appreciate our strong partnership with the Wichita Regional Chamber. And we want to thank Gary Plummer and all the Chamber staff for the great work they've done to overcome the many challenges from these past months. I'd also like to recognize your board chair, Janetta Everett, whose leadership has been so important. Long before any of us had heard of COVID-19 and months before our country was seeing so clearly the systemic racial biases that have plagued our country's history, Janetta, your volunteer board chair, was calling the Wichita business community together to a higher calling of inclusion and diversity. In other words, as Janetta would say, if we aren't measuring up, we need to level up and move forward together. Congratulations, Janetta, for your successful board chair role. I'm certain Wichita will continue to be a better city and business community thanks to your leadership. Like so many places around the world, I know that Wichita has not escaped the economic challenges of 2020. In many ways, with industries like aviation, gas and oil, and agriculture, you may be facing greater challenges than many. We come together tonight at a time when our resilience, our inner strength, our ability to move forward with courage is being tested. I'm going to talk about how we can draw on that inner strength to stay positive and confident and to thrive through this or any other adversity. It was September 11, 2001, one of the most painful times in our country's past. The investment company Sandler O'Neill had their offices on the 104th floor of the World Trade Center, South Tower. The morning of September 11th, they lost 39% of their people, including 2/3 of their management committee and nearly all of their physical assets and corporate records. One day after the attack, Jimmy Dunn, a member of the management committee, and his remaining partners made a decision. The firm must survive. And their first announcement was to set up a purpose and 3 main goals. The purpose was for the firm to remain in business as a proof of not letting terrorists win and undermine America. The 3 goals: first, to determine the extent of human loss and care for the families of missing colleagues. Second, to ensure the safety and health of all surviving employees. And third, to personally assure the firm's clients and friends that the firm would continue. Within weeks, the company had set up a temporary office, hired 13 new employees, and became profitable again. And in the weeks that followed, they moved into permanent offices and became profitable at pre-9/11 levels. How did they do that? How do these people overcome tremendous grief and the traumatic loss of dear friends and colleagues to continue their work and provide for the survivors of 9/11? First and foremost, they had a compelling purpose. And that purpose drove their resilience, their confidence, and their determination. All of us have within ourselves the ability to overcome the challenges we face. We have the strength inside of us. The question is, how do we draw on that? So when we think about resilience, resilience is our ability to bounce back from adversity, the ability to cope and to recover and to learn. And all of us can do that at different levels, but resilience is something that we can learn to become better and more effective at. If we look at this chart, there are 4 different ways that we can respond to adverse situations. The top line is chronic dysfunction. Something traumatic happens, something adverse happens, and a person is unable to respond or to work effectively. From the left, the second line, it starts to go up, but then over time, there's recovery. So there's difficulty in the beginning, but recovery over time. The third line from the left is the opposite. It starts lower, but over time, things get worse and the person has a harder and harder time coping. And the bottom line, that's where we want to be. The line that is able to handle and to cope with adverse situations and to move forward in a positive way. And what we know is that the core to resilience, there are two things. It's positivity and confidence. When we have a positive mindset, we expect better results and we often will get better results. And so having positivity and having the confidence, thinking about even in the past, things that we've worked through that have been very, very difficult, that is something that fuels resilience. And those people who are positive and confident are 71% more likely to be highly resilient than people who aren't. So there's an opportunity for us. And at the same time, what's the challenge? Dale Carnegie once said that the greatest lesson he ever learned really went to his thoughts. It goes to how we think and how we assess situations. So when we're faced with adversity, the question is, how do we see it? Do we see opportunity and crisis? Or do we see something just as bad and it's going to get worse and worse and worse? But the essence of who we are comes down to our thoughts. There's a great quote by the Stoic philosopher and Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius who said, "Our lives are what our thoughts make it." So we need to be very intentional about the kinds of things that we think. And when we talk about this, I'm not saying that we just put blinders on and deny the challenges of what's happening. A phenomenal Kansan, one of the greatest CEOs of our time, Alan Mulally, talks about this, that the essence of leadership is to be able to face the real situation that is in front of us, the challenge that's in front of us, and at the same time, to be hopeful, to be optimistic, to be positive. And Alan Mulally would know, he is someone who took over Ford at a time in its history when that company was so close to bankruptcy. If it wasn't for Alan Mulally and really the mindset that he brought to that situation, Ford likely would have become bankrupt. But because he controlled his thoughts and really created a culture of resilience, Ford thrived. So some ways that we can become more positive and more confident. What are some of the ways that we can be resilient? And part of it goes to even just not criticizing, condemning, and complaining. It doesn't mean we're not going to look at things and be honest about what we need to do. But even in terms of our self-criticism, those negative voices in our minds that can really just drag us down, we need to fight those. Living in day-tight compartments. Really there's an analogy of a ship that has airtight compartments so that water can't go from one side to the next. And if we think about what are the most important things I need to focus on right now? What are the most important things to focus on today? Day-tight compartments can keep us from worrying about all kinds of things that may never happen. And to that end, if we ask ourselves, what is the very worst that can happen? Often when we start there, that's a place that we can build from. And almost always, things are never as bad as we think they could be. And then the last idea about how we can build our own positivity and confidence and resilience really is to fill our minds with thoughts of peace, courage, health, and hope. Think about all that we have to be grateful for. Think about all the things that are going right. One of the ways that we start team meetings at Dale Carnegie is to focus on what's progress that we're making. We may dig into the challenges that we have, but what are things that are working well? Now, the other thing we want to do is not just to focus on resilience and positivity for ourselves, but what about others? And really, there's a couple different things here. Part of this is social intelligence. And we're focused on the interpersonal skills, the skills of empathy and understanding and caring and listening that really help people feel psychological safety. Whether it's in our families, in our companies, or our teams, people feel safe to express their opinion, to talk about how they're feeling, to suggest ideas to help get through a difficult situation. That psychological safety is critical, as is trust. Trust that someone has got my back. Trust that someone cares. Trust that as a leader, I'm going to say and follow up on the things that I do. I'm believable and credible. And that's what we all need to do. We need to be people of integrity. Being people of integrity, being people who are reliable, will help other people feel that psychological safety and trust so that they can then be secure and resilient and willing to take chances. And that we know that when people feel valued, when they feel connected, they're 77% more likely to be highly resilient. And this is from Dale Carnegie research. So we know that there are things that we can do as leaders, as family members, as friends, to help other people feel resilient? What are some of those things? I mean, first of all, even just becoming genuinely interested in other people. Taking the time to ask how someone's doing, to listen, to understand what they're concerned about. We talk about empathy and really just trying to be sensitive to where people are, to value and appreciate people, to try honestly to see things from their point of view. Think about people that we work with, people who may be struggling, people who may be dealing with the loss of someone or of a fear that they have. How do we really help them feel safe talking about that? Praising the slightest improvement and praising every improvement. Again, there are a lot of things that are going really well. Let's make sure that we're focused on those things. And then also giving the other person a fine reputation to live up to. I think about even my kids. It's often saying, I know, Johnny, you can do this. You've done, and give them some examples. You've done it 3 times before. You've been able to do this. You can do this. To recognize the people at work that we work with the same way, to give them that reputation that they are smart and capable and strong and confident, and that we're going to get through this situation together. I know that COVID-19 and other factors affecting Wichita right now can be scary. They are scary. Even though I'm not from Wichita, it's clear how important Kansas industries such as aviation, gas and oil, those are severely challenged right now. At the same time, Kansans are resilient. And Wichita has a tremendous history of individuals and businesses who succeeded by facing their challenges, by building their resilience and thriving through their adversity. These days are not ones to shrink from in fear. These days are days to rise in courage and confidence, and especially as leaders, we're called to be resilient and to help others do the same, to remind them of the difficult situations that they and we have gone through and how we've gotten through all of those things. I happen to believe that when we get through this time, we will see it as a defining moment in our lives and in our careers. And I happen to believe that we're going to be proud. We're going to be proud because rather than shrinking in cowardice, we rose in courage. And that's exactly what you're doing. And it's exactly what you're doing right now tonight by coming together as a community, as a chamber, to celebrate the successes that you've had and to look forward with confidence. So stay confident. Be confident. We've been through tough times before, and we will get through these times again too. And if you do those things, I know that you're going to be successful. Thank you.
The Wichita Regional Chamber of Commerce would like to thank these sponsors for their support of Level Up 2020. Special thanks to our members in the Chairman's Circle, Spirit Aerosystems, Koch Industries, Cox, and Textron Aviation, and presidential partners, Evergy and Intrust Bank. Now, to your chamber chair for 2020, Junetta Everett.
Good evening, everyone. This is not the year I had envisioned when I agreed several years ago to be your 2020 chair, but it is absolutely a year to remember and definitely one to celebrate. I am proud of our tenacity and resilience, and I'm very proud of our list of accomplishments. The Chamber started the year with a conversation on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our message about intentional inclusion could not have been more powerful or critical for the year 2020, including the Chamber joining W, a community of young professionals, in a release of a statement supporting racial justice and equality. To highlight our work in diversity and inclusion, we've tapped one of our members to share his thoughts with you.
Chambers serve as the intersection of commerce and community. More than just convening, the Chamber creates an environment where ecosystems of diverse members work together to solve problems and make progress. At KBS, our motto is "It's more than business." We understand how necessary relationships, networks, and support organizations are to the longevity of small business. What's inspiring and promising about our chamber is their commitment to serving the needs of all members and being at the forefront of confronting and driving important social dialogues. From hosting By Design, an entrepreneurial education series for diverse business owners, to bringing major corporations to the table for conversations on supplier diversity, the Chamber continues to prove its value to our community.
Our work in diversity, equity, and inclusion is far from done, and I echo Darius' sentiments, and the Chamber will continue to oppose complacency and seek to become an example for other regions to emulate. Other accomplishments I'm proud of is the transformation of the Chamber's programming to 32 virtual events that achieved over 24,000 views. And in addition to that, the staff's ability to right away develop an online resource center on COVID-19 that has attracted more than 5,000 views since March. They also built a web page listing regional sources for PPE and cleaning supplies, which has attracted more than 4,000 views since May. And with the support of the Chamber's Transportation Coalition, we've attracted more than $100 million in state and federal investment in the North Junction, the region's top transportation priority. I've said it and I'll say it again, but I am proud of our Chamber staff, our volunteers, our board, and the members for the work we've done in 2020. To highlight two other areas of important work, small business and advocacy, we've tapped another Chamber member for her thoughts.
Our Chamber has always been a champion for business, but even more so during this past year of COVID. I am so appreciative of how quickly our Chamber began broadcasting live interviews with the Small Business Administration and other officials. In fact, the first email I would check every morning was the Chamber update. The information they were pushing to us about available loans and grants was absolutely vital for us as we struggled to stay afloat despite governmental mandates. And in the midst of this, when our city was considering levying an annual business license fee, our Chamber stood in our court pushing back, saying this is the time to bolster our businesses and our economy, not add an additional burden. I'm proud of our Chamber and so thankful for the great leaders who stand with us as together we make Wichita strong.
So we've been very busy serving the best interests of our members, community, and region. And it's time to celebrate those successes and honor those who have helped businesses and communities level up. Our Chamber work will continue under our 2021 Chair, Ben Hutton. In fact, I expect our work to accelerate since Ben is well known for studying and implementing, modeling the best practices in leadership. He knows how to lead, he knows this community, and he understands its needs. In fact, it was Ben who led us to change our mission statement several years ago to a more meaningful purpose statement, one that he will undoubtedly help us fulfill. Success for our members, leadership for our community, and prosperity for our region.
Thank you, Janetta, for your inspirational leadership. That would have been an impressive list of accomplishments during a normal year. It is an outstanding list of accomplishments during such a challenging one. You've inspired us, motivated us, and led by example, and we are so grateful for the energy, creativity, and time you've invested in improving our community. I'd like to present you with a plaque commemorating your year of leveling up the work of the Chamber. Janetta, I know our board, staff, and members appreciate everything you've contributed towards our success, and I look forward to continuing to carry that torch into 2021. I expect our Chamber to lead well by equipping and empowering and encouraging good leadership. I expect our Chamber to focus on people and purpose, and I want our entire community to dream big. The Chamber is full of amazing members, and I'd like to introduce one of them to you now. Tonight's other presenting sponsor is Metro Courier, and we're joined by Anita Oberwortman, the first female Chamber chair in 1995, and her son James. They will share a few words with us and then introduce our first honoree.
It is important to honor members of our community and recognize they are valuable assets. It encourages young people to make Wichita their home and help recruit people to live here. Honoring leaders is a reward for their hard work and incentivizes others to become involved for the good of the community and its organizations.
We're proud to support the Chamber and its efforts to do just that by recognizing individuals, businesses, and organizations every year. As a 2019 honoree, we know how great an honor that recognition is, and we hope that when we shared our story, it did and still does encourage others to invest in our community. When it comes to young people who call Wichita home, we are excited to introduce tonight's first honoree. In 2017, the Chamber introduced the Exceptional Young Leader Award with an awareness that the future of Wichita is always carried in the aspirations and talents of the next generation.
Tonight we recognize Lily Wu. With a passion for storytelling and serving the community, Lily places great value on her past, present, and future and is driving force for her in helping and encouraging others to know and share their own stories. We hope you enjoy hearing her story along with all the honorees tonight. Thank you.
My true passion has always been in finding out people's stories and helping people tell their stories. You can show who you are and you can express that through many different events, through many different organizations, because everyone is an individual and everyone has a specific, unique story. My passion will always be in that. Throughout my life, it will always be to bring out those people and inspire people to tell their stories. In 1993, my family immigrated from Antigua, Guatemala to Wichita, Kansas. Since I didn't speak the language, I took it upon myself to learn the language. And so I really had amazing out-of-classroom teachers that taught me the language and the culture, and that was local television. I've always wanted to be Vanna White. Unfortunately, that job is not available. I admired the people who were on TV. For me, I aspired to be like them. And so that kind of sparked the interest in being a storyteller. Everything that I saw on TV really helped me shape who I am today. My parents, when they knew that I had an interest in television and in pageantry, they wanted to make sure that I always put education first. I'm living my American dream while also fulfilling their American dream of having a better education for their kids.
Lily is a ray of sunshine for Wichita. She has been someone who is completely engaged in the community in addition to her professional life.
Giving Lily that job those 9 or 10 years ago was a great move for Cake TV. This young, engaging woman turned out to be a great journalist. I'm better for knowing her.
I didn't see a lot of people that looked like me when I was growing up on television. I always thought that it was important to show representation. Being a local reporter allowed people to see that you can also be a local reporter, or you could be anything you set your mind to. As the past president of the Wichita Asian Association and being involved with Wichita Asian Festival throughout the years, my platform has always been embracing cultural diversity, and celebrating cultural diversity is really my mission.
Lily is an exceptional leader. From the moment I met Lily, I knew she was something very special.
I really want to inspire people to discover their own culture and celebrate that, because that's what makes America amazing. There's so many different cultures and ethnic backgrounds that it is good to celebrate where we came from in order for us to know where we're going. I'm truly so humbled to accept this award. My story begins with my amazing parents. They came here with the American dream of providing a better future for Carlos and me. I hope to make them proud every single day. I'm grateful for the opportunities in my life, and I thank my parents for showing me the courage and strength to pursue those opportunities. As I live out my own American dream, being a storyteller and community leader, I just want to say thank you to every person who has invested in shaping the person I am today. From my parents, brother, sister-in-law, and boyfriend, to my mentors, my mentees, and my friends. Thank you for always being in my corner, supporting and encouraging me. Thank you for allowing me to continue pursuing my passion, to inspire people to be authentic, to celebrate where they came from, and to lift each other to realize our full potential.
What better way to kick off the awards portion of Level Up 2020 than with our Exceptional Young Leader recipient? Congratulations, Lily. We have several more awards tonight, including the Uncommon Citizen, Spirit of Wichita, Over the Years, and Keeper of the Plains. It is now my privilege to turn it over for the introduction of these honorees. She's quite the storyteller, a member of the KWCH KSCW team, and you guessed it, this year's Exceptional Young Leader. Back to you, Lily.
Thank you, Gary. The next award tonight is the Keeper of the Plains, which recognizes the importance of building design and construction to the aesthetic appeal of our city. Cargill Protein's move of its North America headquarters to Old Town was a milestone for the community. The 180,000 square foot, 4-floor building accommodates almost 1,000 employees. Intentionally designed with Cargill values in mind, the new headquarters looks to attract and retain talent and provide a space for collaboration and innovation.
A company like Cargill Protein that could be anywhere in the country, lots of communities would be happy to have them.
I think we had a natural inclination to stay because we loved our talent here in Wichita. There's so much to offer.
Wichita and Kansas has phenomenal talent. This is a place to attract and retain talent. When I was first introduced to the project, I heard loud and clear a very strong vision from Cargill and from Protein's leadership about people first. And this headquarters project was all about creating a space for employees. We were hearing that they wanted to be immersed in the community, a space that was in the middle of Wichita where they could have access to restaurants and volunteer opportunities and be able to interact. And so the site location was one of the first critical components.
This is a fantastic project for Wichita and especially for downtown Wichita. When you have a $60+ million investment and the retention of over 700 well-paying jobs in your community, that's a pretty big win.
We had employee committees that gave direct input to the design, and that's everything from the outdoor spaces to the sit-to-stand desks to all the things around employee wellness like the staircases and the locker rooms, a sensory center so our employees could connect with customers, conference rooms, both formal and informal, so that they could have a variety of ways to work, technology in those conference rooms and throughout the building.
Being a good neighbor is important in all our decisions we made. We wanted to use local contractors whenever possible, local art, making sure that we paid homage to the tradition and the messages that we wanted to send around. What's good about living here in Wichita? That does come through in the artists that we chose and the pieces that you'll see around the building.
So all these things came together to really provide a powerful place for our employees to work and interact. And for me personally, I'm a local farm girl. I grew up just south of Wichita a little ways. I have very deep Kansas and very deep agriculture roots. And so being able to provide a project like this for a company that I love into a community that I love has just been so special. And now we have this signature piece in downtown Wichita to really showcase that talent. Hello and good evening. I am humbled to accept this award on behalf of Cargill Protein. How fortunate are we to live together in the terrific community of Wichita, Kansas. I would like to focus on the word community because the success of the Cargill Protein Wichita headquarters build took the entire community coming together. Whether you are an East Sider, a West Sider, a downtowner, or from one of our many surrounding suburbs, this project pulled on the diverse thoughts and skill sets and talents of our entire community. Thank you to Cargill Protein's leaders for their vision and for empowering our collective resources to build your vision. Thank you to our state, county, and city leaders. Your partnership enabled our project goals. We have so many stories of partners throughout our community government who went above and beyond to assist our project. And yes, Tim Goodpasture, I miss our conversations about KU basketball, even though I'm a K-State grad. Go Cats. Thank you to our very talented Cargill teammates who volunteered their time and passion to design the details of the building. Thank you to our local contractors, business partners, and artists who provided invaluable services for everything from concrete to electrical services to AV needs to furniture to the art on our walls. I don't have enough time to name you individually, but please know we recognize and value you. Thank you to our downtown neighbors who put up with our construction, traffic, noise, and mess. Cargill loves being near you. Again, thank you to the community that surrounds us. We are proud to be here in Wichita, Kansas.
The Wichita Regional Chamber of Commerce would like to thank these sponsors for their support of Level Up 2020. Now, back to recognizing this year's honorees.
Since 2002, Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers has been a staple in our community, and I bet most of us can say we have a favorite item on that menu. Wichitans aren't alone in that. With more than 370 locations across the country and even growth worldwide with 3 locations in Dubai, as the first over the years honoree tonight, we recognize the real family history, delicious food, loving memories, and relationships that led to and continue building the Freddy's brand.
For more than 18 years, Freddy's has been serving up delicious burgers, custard, and so much more. To see how Freddy's became so popular, let's look back at where all stories start, the beginning.
Well, the beginning is a long time ago.
Let's rewind to a long time ago.
In late 2001, I'd been talking with my brother Bill about putting together a steak burgers, Chicago hot dogs, and frozen custard.
Well, it all started with Randy and Bill calling me into Bill's office. Neither of us really needed this restaurant for income. It was a hobby, but more than a hobby.
It wasn't anything we were gonna put together as a career, but something that would be fun and something that we would enjoy and something that would be good for the consumers here in Wichita.
Well, we knew we wanted to do steak burgers, and a lot of the R&D occurred in my kitchen at home. We were able to come in and just fine-tune the product to make it exactly what we wanted to be with a great flavor profile and hot and fresh every time, and that's really made a big difference.
I fell in love with the good all-beef Chicago hot dogs, and there wasn't any of those in Wichita, Kansas.
There's a story called Summer of the Hot Dog. The hot dog, the hot dog. And when you're sampling product, we wanted the best hot dog we could get. Every supplier sent a 10-pound case of hot dogs. I had 100 pounds of hot dogs at my house.
Whoa, that's a lot of hot dogs. With the food and recipes all figured out, it was finally time to begin construction on the very first Freddy's. Now there would only be one question left to ask. How will the people of Wichita respond?
When the first store opened, the first week was double what we anticipated the volume would be.
Freddy's was a hit in Wichita, and it wasn't long before the rest of the country noticed.
When you're opening an average of 45 restaurants a year for the last 5 years, which we've done, all that opportunity and watching people succeed and advance in life and do things they never would have done before, that's the true reward.
Freddy's has always appreciated the community that supports its business, and it always makes sure to give back to that same community.
We feel community service is important because that's who our guests are. We look for our community to come into our stores every day, and it shouldn't be a one-way street. We need to trade back with our community. One of the areas that we feel are probably the most neglected are our veterans. Nobody's given more for our country than they have.
Good food, good values. It's all good at Freddy's.
If you're gonna be bad, it better be good.
If you're gonna be bad, it better be this good. That's been our marketing slogan for the last couple of years, and it's something that I think parents can agree with.
You just do things, we call it the Freddy's way, it's the right way.
Freddy's, frozen custard and steak burgers.
Good evening. On behalf of my partner Scott Redler and I, and the outstanding people in our Freddy's group, we would like to thank you for this recognition and award. It means a great deal to us, and we are humbled by this honor. In 2002, when we opened our first Freddy's on West 21st, my dad Freddie, brother Bill, and Scott and I had already spent over a century in the hospitality industry in Wichita. We had each served on civic and charitable boards and been involved in every level of the community. Our approach to those who requested our involvement in their projects was to always try to answer yes. The personal satisfaction we have received from our participation in these activities was more than sufficient, but the community support over the years has been immeasurable. We can state with confidence that there is no better place in the U.S. to birth a business than right here in our city. So many remarkable brands have come before us and led the way. We are a relatively small city with an oversized supply of entrepreneurial spirit and drive. We possess an abundance of capital and a talent pool that makes Wichita the envy of the world. We are grateful and proud to call this great city our home. Thank you.
The second Over the Years honoree tonight is Occidental Management. Since its establishment in 1997, the company has proved itself as a leader in the industry with its innovative and dynamic approach to real estate development and passion for entrepreneurship. As a small business, it accomplishes big things by focusing on its people, both employees and tenants, and by investing in and creatively approaching a variety of projects that create value for businesses and the community as a whole.
What we do at Occidental is we find very unique, well-located properties and then figure out a way to reposition them and make them economically viable.
Have a vision and a theme and then fulfill that vision. It has to be able to be utilized. It has to be able to have value. It has to be an amenity in the community. And when you put those together, people want to be there. They want to be a part of it. It's attractive, it's exciting. Those are the projects that we tend to look at.
We definitely look at projects very differently than anybody else in the market.
Our approach is to look for what we would say is a lump of coal that we can turn into a diamond.
Union Station's a great example. No one could figure out how do I make this into a viable asset to downtown. And we looked at it and said, well, okay, if we do this and we do it in phases and we find the right tenant mix and we create really an environment where people will come to and activate it, that we can have a successful project.
They're very comfortable with the uncomfortable. I really appreciate that because it actually creates a much better project that will help us realize even greater things for our community. Now, I look forward to the future and develop this world-class city that we call home.
What we do is commercial real estate and development. What we are is very active in the community.
I know the Wichita Children's Home is not the only nonprofit that they support throughout the year. It's because they have a belief in helping the community, and they give so much because they have such compassion and love for the community as a whole. It makes it a great place for all of us to live in.
Our tenants are entrepreneurs. Sometimes very risky endeavor to be an entrepreneur. We like to support and mentor, and we want to make sure we're supporting them in the highest level, especially in Wichita, which is a very entrepreneurial community.
We enjoy being a part of Wichita. We enjoy working with the different organizations. It's not just let's build a building and fill it. It's let's build a building and create a community amenity and have great tenants and great places that people can work, live, and play.
We have a great challenge in the community, so those areas where we can be successful, we need to focus on that, and we need to take the inspiration to move the community forward.
Occidental Management is honored to be recognized as the 2020 Over the Years recipient by the Wichita Chamber of Commerce. OMI has been rooted in the Wichita community for more than 20 years and is dedicated to providing a strong partnership for many years to come. Our company values relationships and sees the importance of working together as a community.
Over the years, OMI leadership has worked with nonprofits to establish entrepreneurship programs, raise money for local charities, and participate in city initiatives, all in an effort to position Wichita as a destination for innovative business and continued growth. Our company is dedicated to adding value to our community and wants to thank the Chamber for its recognition. On behalf of the Occidental Management team, thank you.
The Spirit of Wichita Award was established in 2002 to recognize businesses and organizations who previously received the Over the Years Award at least 20 years prior, and who continue to show strength of employment, leadership, innovation, and community involvement. Tonight, we celebrate what Music Theater Wichita has contributed to our community. As the largest subscribed not-for-profit arts organization in the state of Kansas, Music Theater Wichita has an international reputation for excellence. Through its audience, donors, and performers, Music Theater Wichita provides hundreds of jobs and tens of thousands of visitors to downtown Wichita each season, making a significant economic impact. Not any less notable is the young Music Theater Wichita alumni on stage or backstage at almost every Broadway musical. To say any community would be envious of a theater of this caliber is an understatement.
When I first came to Wichita and saw a performance, I was completely blown away. This doesn't fit in a city this size.
Larger cities like Chicago or San Francisco or New York City don't have any organizations that are quite like Music Theater Wichita. Professional entertainment at a fraction of Broadway ticket prices, performed by Broadway professionals working side by side with these wonderful young students. We've seen our organization give birth to a lot of young careers that have started here and gone all across the globe.
I graduated from Wichita State, so being right here, I auditioned and got in, and I didn't know much about theater at that point. This was my first professional job. Wayne and Nancy took me under their wing, and look at me now. I'm off playing Hamilton in San Francisco, and I got my start right here.
I think Music Theater Wichita is about creating shared experiences, and it embodies and embraces the entrepreneurial spirit of this community. Every year, Music Theater Wichita creates hundreds of jobs for this community. The sets are built here, the costumes are built and designed here.
About 70% of our annual budget is spent back into this community. We fill hotel room nights, over 1,000 every summer, summertime apartments that our workers take. We have 65 to 70,000 people come downtown to see shows, to park, to have meals. Some stay overnight. Although we enjoy a robust attendance, that only accounts for about half of our $4.5 million budget every year. That's why it's so important that the Wichita community has continued to support us with corporate sponsorships, with private donations. It's quite an economic boon for this community.
I think a lot of people, if they were asked the question, what makes Music Theater Wichita tick, their answer would be Wayne Bryan.
Not only is he the nicest guy in town, but he's assembled the best team. He inspires collaboration, and he brings out the very best in all who have the privilege to work with him.
Wayne has created an environment where there is such passion for the art and such commitment to telling stories. Everyone associated with Music Theater Wichita wants to reach the highest levels possible.
Right now we're preparing for our 50th anniversary season in 2021, and we've seen great progress in the city of Wichita. Our reputation as an organization, I think, has continued to grow. I think we represent a lot of what makes this community unique. We would not still be here 50 years after our founding if this community had not embraced what we do and seen the value of it. We're very, very honored to be part of this celebration tonight.
This recognition comes at a wonderful time as Music Theater Wichita prepares to celebrate its 50th anniversary. 2020 was, of course, a very challenging year, as you might expect, with live performances shut down all across the country. But that gave us some time to think, to plan, to reflect, to strategize, to learn some new skills, and to solidify our leadership team with Angela Cassette as Managing Director and Brian J. Markham as Artistic Director. Together, we are all committed to bring Wichita another 50 years of great musical entertainment, strong financial stimulus for the downtown area, and wonderful learning opportunities for our young people, hopefully in a new performing arts center. So we thank the Chamber for this recognition, and we thank all of our friends for your ongoing support.
As this year's Exceptional Young Leader, it's a distinct honor to introduce this year's Uncommon Citizen, the Chamber's most prestigious individual award, first presented in 1974. Walter Berry's contributions to Wichita are many, even though when you ask him about all he's accomplished, he focuses on other people's contributions in his response. Walt's leadership as Chamber Board Chair in 2012 and chairing the Chamber's Government Relations Committee to chairing the 2019 United Way of the Plains campaign, Walt always takes an ethical and moral approach. He's someone whose faith influences his business decisions and personal interactions. He's a businessman you want to work with and work for. And he's the type of person who starts each day ready to work hard, lead well, and give back to this community.
Small businesses and what we contribute to the economy, how we employ people, how we give back. You can be a business community, you can be successful, you can do things right. It's not to bring attention to ourselves, it's because that's part of our responsibility. To be honest, it's very motivating to see the success that you can have in giving back, and then seeing people who have benefited from that, how our employees are happier.
Employees would describe Walter as intelligent, and not all intelligent people are capable of running a business, but he's proved that he's very capable.
You know, the thing about Walter Berry, he is so committed to Wichita, to Sedgwick County, to Kansas.
If you run a good business and you take care of your people, you will be rewarded, if not financially, certainly emotionally. I wanted to be an example of that. I learned a lot of these from my father. He's always been thoughtful on how he runs a business and how important it is to give back to the community.
I have to say that Walter is one of a kind. He is the calm and steady hand in the room.
I think Walter's somebody who believes in giving back and makes it a priority.
A lot of the challenges you often hear in Wichita is we don't think as highly of ourselves as we really should, but we do live in a great community, and it's important for us to remember that and not dwell on the negatives. At the end of the day, it's just much more rewarding to know you've tried to make a mark on your community. You don't wake up in the morning trying to change the world. You just want to run a good business and take care of your people, but it's been very rewarding to see the results of that. I am honored to be recognized by the Chamber. As you look through this list of recipients, it's truly humbling to be associated with such a group. We live in a great community, and there are many people who contribute to its success. I would like to thank the Chamber for continually reminding us what a great community we live in. I would like to thank my parents for emulating the Christian values that helped shape my life, particularly my father, who has mentored me to be a better businessman and helped mold my character and modeled the importance of giving back to the community. I would like to thank my coworkers who have made it possible for me to be involved in the community. I would like to thank my wife for supporting me and for her understanding when I have overcommitted myself, because I have such a hard time saying no. And finally, I would like to thank my God for correcting me when I go astray and directing my every step back toward Him. May I honor Him in everything I do. Thank you.
The Wichita Regional Chamber of Commerce would like to thank these sponsors for their support of Level Up 2020. To conclude Level Up 2020, here's Gary Plummer.
Wow, what a night. As we come to a close, I want to say thank you for tuning in for a night of celebration with the Wichita Regional Chamber of Commerce as we come to the end of 2020. I want to recognize the work of our Chamber Chair, Janetta Everett, and her challenge to each of us to level up. Thank you again to our presenting sponsors, Intrust Bank and Metro Courier, as well as all of our sponsors who you will see in the credits at the end. And special recognition to our top investors who support the Chamber's mission in a variety of ways throughout the year. Our Chairman's Circle members, Spirit Aerosystems, Koch Industries, Cox, and Textron Aviation, as well as our presidential partners, Evergy and Intrust Bank. And I want to say a special thank you to Brad Moses and his team at Gray Television for being our partner this evening. And a special thank you to 4 members of the Chamber staff who worked very hard on this event, including Angie Prather, Angie Elliott, Jamie Dupie, and especially Chelsea Dyer. I look forward to what 2021 will bring, and I know that with Ben Hutton's passion for leading well, focusing on people and purpose, and dreaming big, we will be sharing another list of impressive accomplishments. Thank you to the Chamber staff, the Board of Directors, volunteers, members, our 2020 chair, and all of you who make Wichita an exceptional place to call home. Good night.
Thank you.